This is my horse for today. My truck's still at the oil change shop. I forgot to pick it up yesterday when I got done. So until Monday, I'm in the old white work truck. I've come up Chattanooga for just a little while. I figure it's about high time I got out and done a video. I haven't done one in like 3 weeks at all. I shot some footage while we were in Costa Rica, but I didn't actually build a video with any of it. I still have all the footage saved in the computer. So at some point I'll do something with that footage. That's the plan at least. But I got to do something to like get motivated to get back out and start shooting again. I brought the Leica CL and the 50mm that I'm using on it, you know. I think I have the 135 in the bag too. I may stick it on the camera and just play with 135 on there today some. But I'm gonna go over here to Pete's Coffee and get a cup of coffee, bring you guys up to speed on some stuff, and let's go shoot some photos. I got me one of them little fancy face coverings while I was down in Costa Rica. It's got 3-toe slots on it. That makes it special. Anyway, got me a cup of dark roast. But about a week into the trip in Costa Rica, I did a video, it's already aired, about the Dji Osmo Action. It's a little action camera. Aaron loaned it to me for the trip. And I thought we were going to be doing stuff where I would need an action cam, but the action sports things we did, they basically did the photography for us, so we didn't have to worry with it. And by going that route, I didn't need the camera, but I actually wanted to test drive it as a vlogging rig, so I did a video with it where I went and shot some bird photos in the wilds, basically in a little wooded lot between a resort and the beach, and I played with the camera some. Well, I learned something from YouTube when I did that, was that if you mistakenly launch the video on the same day as one of your other pieces of content, and then you reschedule it to launch like the next day, it will go to the YouTube graveyard. Yeah, I think it still hasn't got 100 views. So it's the way it is sometimes. I did that video, and then I got to thinking after I built the video that I'm YouTubing my vacation and I'm not really enjoying the vacation. And I wanted to go on this trip to photograph wildlife and to kind of document the trip a little. I did that some too. But my goal had gotten shifted and I was starting to YouTube it instead. And like I said, about a weekend I had made 2 videos, and I decided at that point that I was just going to enjoy the vacation, take photos, and when I get home I'll sort through them. I brought home 2,300 photos and so many 100 video clips, but yeah, 2,300 photos. Long story short, I haven't made a video for YouTube in like 3 weeks, so I thought today I should get out and do something. I got up this morning and I was sorting photos, like I said, and I've got a photo project working on. It's real cold today, it's making my nose run. But I've got a book project started from over the last year, and then I've also want to do something with these wildlife photos from Costa Rica, because I have a bunch of them, and I have some really cool photos. Some of them, I mean, they're probably common birds to them, but to me they were exotic. I got some really interesting photos. So once I get them sorted, I'm going to do some videos with that. For the time being, I want to do something with you guys and just kind of do some interacting. I've got content scheduled out for a little ways out on Saturdays, but I don't really have anything for Wednesdays. So that's what this is. It's a Wednesday video. So, built-in lens hood, that's pretty sweet. Okay, where do we want to shoot this? About F4. All right, well, I made it 1 lap around the block. Actually, I made it halfway before I got the phone call Teresa's crashed her car in a parking lot, tore the front nose off of it, so I'm going to get the truck. So I guess this is the shortest photography trip in the history of photography trips. I'll get video of that and share it with you. She busted it pretty good. Let's go over to the Dodge place and leave it with them. They can fix it pretty quick and easily. That's Jeep stickers for $44,000. It's pretty sweet though. We're at the dealership now. That escalated quickly. Aaron's on his way down. He's gonna be at the house in about an hour and a half. Teresa doesn't know it yet. I haven't bothered to tell her. She's on the phone with the insurance company right now. This has turned into an interesting day at the for a vlog, but he said they don't have any trade-in Chargers. They only have trade-in Challengers. If I wander too far over this way, I'm gonna get into that music. It's copyrighted, I'm sure, so I'll just stick around over here. Teresa loves the Charger, so I don't think I'll be able to talk her into getting a Challenger. Okay, so here we are at the airport trying to rent a car, because the rental yard, like right down the street from where we dropped Teresa's car off, closes at 12. We got there at 11:30 and piddled around the Chrysler dealership till 1. So here we are at the airport trying to rent a car. Teresa's in there right now. I'm waiting out here so I won't have to drive off and pay to park somewhere. I'm just sitting in the truck, basically parking for free. So now we're getting her a temporary so she can go somewhere. We looked at the new ones, but they were all V6 cars, and we don't want one of them. Even though they're probably hot rod and really go fast, we want the V8 Hemi because America. Teresa went from a Hemi Dodge Charger to this. Teresa wants to make a statement.
David, I can't believe you're vlogging my wreck. That's all I have to say.
Now we're gonna go link up with Aaron and eat lunch. Yeah, he's down here. He'll be at the restaurant in probably 15 or 20 minutes. I actually thought we was going to the restaurant, but we actually ain't. We're sitting in the parking lot for no reason. So Teresa's got her little car rented. Ah, here she comes. And now we're heading over to Cheesecake Factory. All right, so I've switched back over to the 50 mil. Now we're going to Cheesecake Factory to eat. Don't really know where Teresa is. She's out here in the parking lot somewhere. I don't recognize her car anymore, so who knows. Left my phone in the truck, going back to get it because now I can't find Teresa. And so the easiest way to find her is just to call her. Here, let's see. There we go. Let's see. Yep, Teresa's texted me and tried to call me 1 minute ago. Let's see if she's already inside the restaurant. Where are you at? Okay, so we've decided to come out to the porch because I completely dropped the ball and didn't video squat in Chattanooga after we ate at Cheesecake Factory. Aaron took one photo with my Leica of me at the dinner table, and then we decided to come home. He's never been to the house here, so I brought him to the house, gave him the nickel tour, as they say. We let the chickens out. Of course, I didn't video that either, so there's technically no proof other than the chickens are out. Yeah, they're in the yard. But what we was going to go over was he's brought his travel kit with him, and I've got mine from Costa Rica still packed because I haven't had time to unpack it yet. And we're just going to see what's in each of our bags. And it's kind of neat because, like, if you watch this video in 2022, the bag video will probably be different. And it's because it's constantly evolving.
Or devolving.
Well, yeah. I guess you could look at it that way. Certain individuals here have an affinity for older equipment. I'll start with mine. I took the Manfrotto Be-Free carbon fiber tripod, broke down, but I packed it in my check bag. I didn't want to have to carry it on my person through the airport, so I just stuck this by itself in the check bag to send it on. I didn't do a lot of tripod shooting while I was in Costa Rica, but if I did want to shoot some, I always stick a tripod adapter for your camera in the no, what do you call that?
The Arca Swiss.
Into the mount clamp, and I clamp one in it. That way there's always one with it, so I'll have one if I need to use it, just in case the particular camera I pick up doesn't have a base. I've got one with the tripod. In my personal bag, I carried this. Now, I also took the microphone we're recording with, which is a Rode Video Micro. It's a hardwired mic, but it's the small compact one for kind of YouTubers. And I take it off of the camera so I don't break the base or the little mount because I'm traveling. But I did carry this, and I took the tripod off of the camera, stuck it in my little shoulder bag, and then I took this camera as it's configured with the ND filter, the 10-20 Nikon DX lens, the F to Z adapter, and the camera. I traveled it just like that. And I took quite a few photos while traveling with this particular setup. And it's pretty good for landscapes or general snapshots. It works good for that. But that allowed me to carry all that kit in the ready to go kind of position. And in that process, I lost one of them.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, so I bought this one on Amazon, and it's an aftermarket one, but it works. It's long. I kind of like the factory one better, the shallower one.
Well, get a factory one, then you have a spare.
I'm going to have to. But you can't buy one on Amazon. They don't have them. I'm going to have to call like a real camera store and buy it or something. Somebody in this room chided me pretty good for giving Amazon too much business one time.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do a big purchase. But, you know, there's like people that bought, and it's happened to me. Like I bought, like a $150 B&W filter. Mm-hmm. And I got an empty box. Mm-hmm. I got an empty filter case. So, if it's expensive, I don't send it to Amazon. I go through a reputable company. If it's something cheap, like an Arca Swiss plate or an L bracket, yeah, okay, Amazon can do that. Because most of the time the camera shop doesn't have what I need anyways for this.
Yeah.
They're little parts.
There's that sun you said was going to happen.
Yep.
It's right in my eyes now, too. Man, it wasn't there 1 minute ago. If I lean up, there we go. Anyway, my backpack of camera gear I carried, I've traveled with camera gear on airplanes for quite some time. And I've learned over that time, I've got the Think Tank Photo Airport version, Airport Express, whatever. It's the roller bag, and it's the size of a carry-on travel airline bag. Problem is it's too big to fit in the commuter jet overheads. And then what you end up doing is they tell you to valet check that bag. That's very scary because it's not a hard case and it doesn't have like foam inserts to protect the equipment, and them gorillas are going to throw that thing in the baggage hold, and you're just looking at your camera gear knowing that you're never going to see it again. Fortunately, I got lucky the one time that I came into this scenario, and the stewardess had a storage compartment in their little work area that was big enough that she could slide it in it, and she stored it for me. I got lucky. At that point, I started hunting a smaller solution, and the next bag I bought was the smaller Think Tank, which is the Streetwalker, which is technically not really a travel bag, but I downsized my kit so much after that one experience that I only took like the XT3 and 2 lenses.
Yeah.
I just didn't take anything, so it was small enough. But on this trip to Costa Rica, I knew I was going to be doing a lot of wildlife photography, plus a lot of maybe video and, you know, snapshots of the vacation. So I knew I wanted a telephoto lens, and I knew I wanted some smaller lenses as well. And I needed batteries and all that sort of stuff. So I got the Think Tank Photo. Once again, I'm a pretty big believer in their equipment. This is the Retrospective Backpack 15, and I'm assuming that's because it's 15 liters. That's the volume. And this one I like. I picked this one over another one because you can actually get into this one without getting the surface dirty that goes against your body. You lay it down face first and open it from this direction. And by doing that, the side that's against your back doesn't get dirt all over it like my other one. I hate that about that other one. That Streetwalker, that's the only thing about it I don't like. When this bag is just literally what I needed, nothing else. And I actually didn't use some of it. I got a Rocket Air. Everybody should have one of them. I carry some filters, of course. You know, if I was going to do some landscape work. I got a 5-stop ND and a circular polarizer, of which I never used. I've got the L bracket for the Z6. I took it off the Z6 because I was shooting it handheld so much that it was just in the way. This is the 24-70 F4S. I used it extensively. I used it a lot. Then on the other side is batteries. This is a phone mount. This is the hot shoe mount, and I've got an Arca Swiss plate on it if I wanted to mount the 500mm phase Fresnel on a tripod. I wound up shooting handheld the whole time. This is a 1.4 teleconverter. When I shoot it on the Z6, I add this and it makes it a 700mm f8. If it's, come on Jericho, the dog is acting a fool. This is the 1.4 TC14E3 teleconverter, and I use this with the Z6 and the 500mm to make it a 700 f8. If it's really good and well lit, like if it's a blue sky and I'm outdoors, I like adding this because it gives me more reach, and at f8 you don't lose enough light on a bright sunny day for it to make a big difference. But if it's going to be overcast or something, I'll leave it off and I'll get that stop of light back. And then in the center is the monster. You got the 500mm phase Fresnel, the F to Z adapter, and the Z6. And then I've got a shoulder strap, and I tie it all together. And then in the bottom of the kit, I put the lens hood in there, and I just drop it in it. And then to give it a little more cushion, I've got as much padding in the bottom of the bag as possible. And then I've added one of those dividers down that you have surplus dividers from when you configure the pack. I've stuck one of them, and then I've stuck an old sock that I normally shoot. This is one of those loaners out of the dryer. And I stuck it down in the lens hood to kind of cushion the lens so that if I set the bag down, or a bag or like a bellhop or somebody handles it and they set it down a little bit abusively, it cushions it a little bit, keeps you from beating up the lens elements so much. You know, I was just trying to protect the lens a little better while traveling, and it seemed to work. The lens and camera all survived the journey just fine. But what I did find myself doing was reconfiguring all this gear into drastically different configurations once I got boots on the ground. Most days I would literally switch the camera bodies, and I'd put the DX lens on the full frame camera and this 500mm on the Z50, because on the Z50 you don't lose the stop of light because you're not going through the teleconverter. But since it's crop censored off the center of the frame, you're 21 megapixels out of the center, so it's equivalent field of view of 700. But 21 megapixels on the DX equates to like almost 50 megapixels if you scale it to full frame.
Yeah, and you'd be losing megapixels going DX mode on the DX.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked. It just worked because I was shooting video most of the time with that 10 to 20 millimeter in DX mode on the Z6. So.
And you're only shooting 1080p, so you're not really going to lose much.
Yeah, that's what, a 2 megapixel image?
Yeah.
So even if you did, when you crop it down, I think a 24 crops down to what, about 13 in DX mode or something like that. But yeah, it worked great that way. It just, what's he eating now? The dog's over here in the yard eating something. But it shocked me how well that worked. And this worked out to be a very efficient little travel kit, because I had the 24-70, and I would put it on the Z50, and that makes it field of view of like 35 to 105. So
start switching them around.
Yeah. So I had the 10 to 20, the 24-70, and the 500, and that was the only lenses I took other than a 50mm AI for low light. And I used that one time. And I could have got by without it and just not took pictures that one day, and it would have been perfectly acceptable. I think I got 2 photos out of that deal. 2. I come back with like 2,400, 2,500, 2,600 photos. 2 photos wouldn't have made that big a difference. So, looking back, I would reevaluate it, and I wouldn't have took that 50mm at all and just not bothered to carry it, because it was just weight that I was carrying around for no good reason. Because I did have the focal length technically covered with this 24-70. It just had, what, 3 stops of light on it. That's the only thing you're gaining. I mean, really, in shallow depth of field, but I was shooting at night, and I was kind of wanting some depth of field because I was taking pictures of like insects and stuff. So it worked out. So now we're gonna see what Aaron's traveling with.
All right, David wanted me to talk about what's in this bag.
Yes.
We can definitely talk about what's not in this bag at this moment.
Yeah.
So,
because we just tore the property apart looking for the little tiny 3D printed light meter made by who?
Ravini Labs.
Yeah.
Out of Canada, and they're great. The problem is it's so small and it's black, matte black, it disappears. Like, yeah, we need one that's printed orange or yellow or chartreuse.
Yeah. That's the joke we was kicking around, is like, we've looked everywhere and we can't find it.
It's like, I put it in my pocket sometimes.
It's
not in there. Anyway, this is my Timba bag that I bought over the holidays. I bought this for myself for my birthday because I was having, like, what was that? What's that camo bag I got? I can't remember.
Oh, your other one?
Yeah. I don't like it. It never felt right.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one I had was a Transit, and it was about the same size. I think this is a 250. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But this one definitely rides better on the back.
It's about a 15-liter bag. Looking at that retrospective and looking at this, they're about the same size. It might be a little bit more, maybe 17 liters.
So I stole David's camera because in here
we needed a prop.
Yeah, here's what the inside of it looks like. So here's David's Z6 is where usually my Z6 fits at, but my Z6 is recording. So
so we use it as a prop.
Yeah, so here's David's Z6. It fits in here perfect. I usually carry I leave the 24 to 70 on there. Sometimes I leave this one open for whatever lens I want, but I've been usually carrying the 50 to 1.8Z. Good lens. And then,
excuse me. So you got a good fast prime.
With these are Mikey Z macro or extension tubes, but they also work with autofocus.
Oh yeah.
So
they're pass through wired. They have electrical contacts in them, allows you to focus. So how close can you focus?
I got pretty close, like within an inch.
Really?
Yeah.
So it'll macro focus basically.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a 11 and an 18 millimeter tube.
So
I think this was like 35, something to get on Amazon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been keeping those, like the 51.8 and the macro, the extension tubes in there just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We'll just walk around. Here is my Sasonic light meter. Which I should put that lanyard on the light meter that we don't know where it is.
The invisible light meter.
This is my cable release because I've been doing a lot of film since November, December.
Yeah, the bug bit him not too long ago, and now he's all in on the film game.
Well, one of the things I've been wanting to do for a couple of years, I've been wanting to focus back on doing black and white photography.
Mm-hmm.
And film is a perfect medium for doing black and white. But then also, being out in the Midwest in the wintertime, black and white's also pretty much what you want to do unless you like the color palettes of brown and gray.
Which is like an almost black and white.
Yeah, just not as contrasty. So, anyways, I started getting in, and I got into medium format, which is another thing I've been wanting to dive into. So, this is one camera I brought on this trip. This is a Mamiya 645 1000S. I have the original 645. I also have the Pro TL. And this has the 80mm 2.8 in on it.
And when you turn that into 35mm focal length.
That's the equivalent of a 50mm.
Okay, so an 80 is like a 50.
Yeah, yeah. And that's also one of the reasons I've been carrying the 51.8Z. Is because I've been shooting side by side. I'll shoot the same composition with the Z or one of the medium formats. I've also, fits most of my medium formats in there. I know my Bronica S2A will fit in there. I've got a Yashica Mat 128 that I'm pretty sure it'll fit in there.
I bet that Bronica makes a difference in the backpack carry.
Yeah, it's twice as big and heavy as this, and chrome doesn't get you home because it weighs down the backpack. But yeah, it's a fun little project I've been doing. I don't know. I'm having fun with it. So
Yeah.
it's getting me out. This is one of the new things I got. This is one of the H&Y Revo rings. So back down to like carrying less stuff.
Right.
So this is a, what is this one?
If y'all don't know, they did a Kickstarter, didn't they?
Yeah.
This is a Kickstarter
Yeah,
item.
this is a Kickstarter item.
It's an upstart, and they've come out with basically this is basically like step rings, but in one device.
Yeah, one device.
Yeah. As you can see, it's choking down this aperture, and that aperture fits inside the filter thread on your lens.
Here, I'll show
It's
you
it's really nice.
So this is the 62 to 49, 46. Sorry. So I can put this ring on anything that is 62 to.
I'll hold the lens.
Okay.
That way you can drive it. The lens typically would be mounted on a camera, and then if you want it,
There we go.
yeah. See now it's got on the outside of those teeth on that aperture. It has the filter thread, so when they expand out, they lock into the thread grooves of the lens, and it don't fall off. It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
There you go.
Too much stuff here, but
Yeah,
it's all right.
too much stuff. I'll set this camera down.
Let's see. Well, let me just throw that in there. There's more residual step-up rings.
Yeah, traditional ones.
Yeah, residual ones that I have in there because I usually carry. What is this? This is a 77 millimeter black Pro Mist 1/8 filter. I was playing around with some stuff on that. More filters over here. This is what I was normally rocking, and this is kind of what Dave is. I turned Dave onto these. These are the K&F
Yeah.
variable NDs,
Yeah. See,
CPLs.
that's what's on here. But
Yeah.
this one doesn't have the CPL. I have those in the house. This one's just an ND.
Oh, okay.
I didn't need the CPL on video. I don't have enough worries with like reflection.
This is me, yeah, me trying to get down to smaller kits, less stuff. So that's only what, 5 stops? That's a 2 to 5, and then this is a Linskin's 6-stop ND.
So that gives you 11 stops.
Yeah.
Man, you can make some water smooth.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. Is like, okay, if I want to go out and do a long exposure, but that being said, this will probably supersede all of it. So this is also the H&Y, but this is the one that has the variable ND and
The CPL.
CPL built into it, like the K&F.
But look how big this thing is. It's enormous.
Yeah, this is the 82 to 67.
And so the actual filter will be bigger than that, so that it clears an 82 millimeter front element.
Yeah.
So you're probably looking at like a 95 millimeter filter.
Yep, it's big.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of filters.
And that's also the reason I have that other one on there, because I could actually pop that other Revo ring on there and go all the way down, put that on a 46 millimeter filter thread.
And you don't have to have but one.
Yeah, it's just more is less.
Yeah.
I've yet to try it, but it's there if I'm
Curious to see if it has any color cast in that.
Yeah,
ND.
well, when we've got the K&F ones, because I did some pretty good testing on the K&F ones, and believe it or not, the K&F ones are
Pretty neutral
they're really good.
for what you're paying for them.
Yeah, this is this came with one of my cameras, and this is a camera strap for the Mamiyas.
Oh, does it hang on your shoulder?
No, well, it hangs over the back of your neck. I mean, it can hang over your shoulder, but look, here's the taper on it.
Okay.
So
So it's contoured.
yeah, so when you're doing a waist level finder,
Uh-huh.
it's up there, it hangs up really good. Is this boring you?
No, I don't know why I started yawning, but I'm yawning. I am not bored at all.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff. This is a,
Not really.
this is the Mamiya 645 to Nikon F Adapter.
Look at the size difference of this thing. Look at this. It's enormous.
So that,
I mean, it's like twice as big. That's hilarious.
and then, of course, with other adapters, I've got the Nikon Z to F.
The F to Z.
But one of my other Mamiya cameras, I have like the 80 millimeter 1.9. We got dogs chasing chickens.
Well, I think he's running them out of his yard. Let's see. No. He ain't down there. That's just the chickens.
Oh.
No, that was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't like them in his yard. He'll get them out of the yard.
So, yeah, I was I had another lens that I was using on one of the other cameras, and
Okay.
I thought it would be kind of nice to be able to put an 80mm 1.9 on a Nikon Z camera. Why not? And I took some test photos with my cat, and they're really creamy.
Yeah, I bet.
So that's it. Well, there's a spare roll of film in there.
Yeah, he actually has a little pocket made into his bag so he can keep a roll of 120 film in location so it don't run around in the bag on him.
It'll actually run 2 of them in there, but but this is pretty much the bag I have been walking out the door with every time I go. You know, if I want to do something with film, I can do it. If I want to do something with the Z6, and I like the Z6. My bag for the Z50 is a little bit different. And then the bag for my 35mm is a little different. That's more run and gun stuff.
Yeah, I like it. If I'm just going to Chattanooga for the day, I take this little guy. This little tiny timber pack is my go-to. It's got the Leica CL in it right now. And that's what I started out today with. And that fell apart. But, yeah, I have a large piece of Teresa's car in the bed of the truck now because of that. So, yeah, we got it at the body shop. We'll call them Monday and have them start fixing it. But that's the way it goes.
The best thing about our backpacks is you can sit them down on the floor and they don't fall over.
Yes, for a change. Even this little Timba stands up. It sits good.
All the Timba ones do.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I've noticed that. My Think Tank Photo Streetwalker doesn't.
I had
it immediately falls down.
I got, like, my first Timba is a messenger bag. And I bought a Manfrotto messenger bag because they were really cheap. Now I find out why they were really cheap.
Because they're really cheap.
So the Manfrotto one, well, it was also camouflage. So I'm like, yeah, all right.
Oh, okay.
it kind of went into the outdoor theme of all my other bags. But I sat down and didn't matter what you do. It could be completely empty. You put it on the floor, it'd fall over. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, this is not acceptable.
My Peak Design has a flat bottom, but it don't stand up real well. So you have to prop it just right. Typically, the weight of the strap will keep it from falling down.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got it loaded pretty balanced, but it doesn't have a good base.
Yeah.
It really don't.
My Manfrotto bag is where I throw all my flash stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So all my speed lights. And my 8200 stuff goes in there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do something like that with mine. Because mine's just crammed in a shelf now. By the way, I have a studio. If you haven't seen the live stream, there is a legit Georgia photographer studio now. Legit. So I'm actually going to try and do some videos in there at some point. Work has been overwhelming me here lately. And because of that, there hasn't been much content. So, gotta get caught up at work. If you have a really interesting bag that we should look at, drop it in the comments. Let us know. Because I'm always looking for like a better backpack. I don't know. I think it's a rule if you're a photographer, you have to have at least, what, a dozen packs?
I now understand women better.
Yes,
because
yes.
I was a photographer. I was like, why do you need so many purses?
Yeah.
Well, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Then I started becoming a photographer. Now I understand.
I get it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense now. Okay.
I will never say anything about a woman's purse ever again.
So until next time, this is David, the Georgia photographer, saying, get your camera out and...
Bake a cake?
We'll get this right in a minute. This is David, the Georgia photographer, saying, until next time, get your camera out and...
Which way is it to Tijuana?
So with that, this is David, the Georgia photographer, saying, until... Now I know why actors can't keep a straight face on set sometimes. He's broke. I broke him now.
Oh, Lord.
I'm almost certain it's broken.
What's broken?
This outro. Alright, this is David, the Georgia photographer. And I can't even say it now. So until next time, this is David, the Georgia photographer, telling you, get your camera out and go.
Caucage.
Go what?
Caucage.
Don't do that.
Don't do
Whatever
that.
you do, don't do that. So until next time, this is David, the Georgia photographer, so until next time, this is David.
We just derailed this thing.
Yeah. Oh, this is so.
Oh, let
bad.
me see it.
And